Ladies and gentlemen, today I came up with an excellent concept. We are going to talk about an excellent stuff today. And until before few days, even I didn't know about this, but recently TryHackMe has released a room. That room clearly explains about this specific concept. So I feel explaining this concept through this TryHackMe walkthrough would be a suitable way. And the concept is nothing but an open source SIEM and EDR solution, and the tool name is Wazuh. It is open source and also coming under GNU license, which means the source code is freely available on GitHub. Anyone can download this source code and they can modify it. The tool can be used commercially. I mean, if you are a part of an enterprise, running a firm, or running out of a budget to purchase an SIEM or EDR solution, then you may prefer this tool Wazuh, because the features that are offered by this Wazuh tool comparatively, I mean, it is almost equal with the features that are offered by standard top commercial SIM in EDR tools. And that is why I'm telling this as an excellent concept. And if you are a blue teamer, particularly doing the incident response sort of things, then you would be enjoying this video. Stick with me. Without further ado, I'm going to explain this concept. TryHackMe room that specially talks about the tool Wazuh. Wazuh is a free, open source, and enterprise ready security monitoring solution for threat detection and integrity monitoring. TryHackMe provisioned their machine. This machine is already installed with Wazuh, so we can directly spawn this machine by connecting the TryHackMe's VPN. And I have already opened this interface. So this is how the login page of Wazuh would look like. You will be able to log in this easily, and you can see the topics over here. The topics that we are going to discuss: a simple introduction, and it is just the section how to deploy this specific Wazuh server. So that is what they gave here. And from the third task only, we are going to learn about the internal components of Wazuh. But before going through all these tasks, all these specific information, it is better to visit the website once. So this is the official website of Wazuh, wazuh.com. And moving to the next one, I can see the documentation page of Wazuh. Here you'll be able to witness the comprehensive detailed detailed documentation for each and every process that you need to follow. Let's take a quick start first. Quick start is all about the procedure, how you can install this Wazuh tool in few moments. And if you go to this getting started option, you can see these components, architecture, and the use cases of this specific Wazuh solution. And you can see the components page. Here they gave the four names: Wazuh Indexer, Wazuh Server, Wazuh Dashboard, Wazuh Agents. So these are the four components of Wazuh. Wazuh is made up of these four components, and they gave definition for each and every component. And here in this diagram, you can see the architecture of Wazuh. In this architecture, it clearly says there is a section called agent, there is a section called server, there is a section called dashboard, there is a section called indexer. If you see the internal components of a specific group of, the group of the component, you can see the agent modules: active response, command execution, configuration assessment. Actually they gave what are all the activities taken care by the agent, Wazuh agent. It is looking for the active response, command execution, configuration assessment. It is also checking the container security, cloud security, file integrity monitoring, log collection. Some even the malware detection is possible with this Wazuh agent, and also the system inventory. And once every data is collected, here it is actually controlling the data flow as well. And here you can see the connection between the server and the agent. It is actually connecting here. Here the agent daemon is connecting with the agent connection service and the agent enrollment service. So this is how the agent is communicating with server. Once you see this diagram thoroughly, you'll be able to understand the architecture of Wazuh. And also here you can see the some other activities, some other internal components of Wazuh server: threat intelligence, vulnerability detection, regulatory compliance, and also you can see a component called file bit here. And what the file bit is doing looks like it is collecting the raw data and the security alerts. It is giving to the Wazuh indexer, and the Wazuh indexer is actually processing this raw data events and the raw security alerts. Actually, it is doing some uh, assessment before it is giving to the Wazuh dashboard as an interface to the user. So this is this architecture of the Wazuh. And if you go to the architecture page once again, here you can see the same kind of diagram, but here they gave a detailed one. So as a fresher, as a beginner, if you see this document, if you see this diagram, you will be able to understand it better. Here you can see the endpoints. On the endpoints, the Wazuh agent would be deployed. Actually, it is agent and server model. It is working in that model only. So Wazuh agent need to be deployed on each and every device which we need to monitor. And it can be a server, it can be a desktop, it can be any operating system. That is an excellent stuff about this Wazuh. It is cross platform compatible, which means we can deploy this Wazuh agent on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Solaris, and even HP operating system. And if you see the types of devices on which we can deploy this Wazuh agent: server, desktop, laptop, even the cloud instance can be monitored, and also the virtual machines can be monitored through this. And you can see the network load balancer, the connectivity between the server and the endpoint here. And in this server block, you can see the analysis engine where it is having the file bit and API, and also the node communication master worker. You can see the worker node. So if you go through this, you will be able to understand the architecture, the structure of Wazuh SIEM solution. At the end, you can see the dashboard is viewed by the end user who are all using the Wazuh, the admins, the incident responders, the blue teamers who are using the Wazuh, so the end users. And moving to the next one, you can see the use cases. What are the use cases of Wazuh? It can be used to analyze the log data. We can able to detect the rootkits by using this Wazuh, and also the configuration assessment is possible. Vulnerability detection, we can, once we deployed agents on the endpoints, we can scan that endpoints for the vulnerability, and we can find whether that endpoint is vulnerable to a specific thing or not. And the container security is possible. File integrity monitoring is possible, whether the file is tampered or not, whether the uh, file integrity is preserved or not. So we can able to find those things here. And also the active response, system inventory, cloud security, regulatory compliance, malware detection. So we can do a lot of things by using this Wazuh. So that is what they gave here in the use case. And once you go to the quick start, you can see a specific line over here. Let me showcase that line. The quick start shows how to install Wazuh central components on the same host. So there are two types of installation. It can be a centralized installation or it can be a distributed installation. What does it mean? Centralized installation means you have seen the components, right? The list of components in Wazuh, the Wazuh indexer, Wazuh server, Wazuh dashboard, Wazuh agent. Not agents, the remaining three: indexer, server, and dashboard. All these three components can be installed on a single device. That is called a centralized management. If you are installing all these three components on separate servers, then it is called distributed environment. So in this quick start, they gave the procedure to follow in order to install it on a central server. So every all three components will be installed on the same server except the agent. The agent has to be installed on the device that we are going to monitor, that we are going to assess. You can see the compatible operating systems here, and the Wazuh agent compatible on Linux machines, Windows machines, Mac machines as well, Oracle, Solaris, and AIX, HP, UX. So these are the operating systems that on that the Wazuh agents can be installed. So the next one is interesting one. In this separate installation guide. They gave the installation steps for each and every component: Wazuh indexer, Wazuh server, Wazuh dashboard. You can see the installing Wazuh agent, the procedure is given, and also the list of packages that are required in order to proceed this installation. And if you move to this Wazuh indexer, you can see the list of commands and the system requirements, all these details. These details are actually comprehensive. It contains every detail that you need in order to install this Wazuh completely. And moving to the next one, yeah, the installation alternatives. Not only on the Linux servers, the Linux it can also be installed on these components. It can be installed as a virtual machine, an OVA file, which later can be imported into VirtualBox, and it can also be installed on Amazon machine images. It can be installed on AWS simply, and also it can be deployed as a Docker image, Docker container, and also deployment on Kubernetes is possible. Offline also you can do an installation from sources, installation Wazuh with the Elastic Stack basic license. So these are some of the ways you can install alternatively. And another thing I wanted to inform here is the Wazuh agent is cross-platform compatible. However, the remaining three components can be installed only on Linux instances, Linux machines only. I think that is given over here in this quick start page. Somewhere I have seen, yeah, here you can see Wazuh central component can be installed on a 64-bit Linux operating system. Wazuh recommends any following operating system versions. So these are the operating system versions that are currently compatible to Wazuh central components. And in order to install the central component, these are the minimum requirements. They are calculating it based on the number of agents that they are going to use. If you are a small user using only 1 to 25 agent, then this is the specification, and according to this number of agents the specification will vary. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say here in this Wazuh website. So the documentation is comprehensive. You can later go through this. And moving to this Try Hack Me room, let's continue. First of all, the introduction. Welcome to a room showcasing the capabilities of Wazuh EDR software solution. In this room, you can expect to learn the following things. So they are going to explain the list of, the things that is listed here. What is an EDR, why it is useful, and what is EDR like Wazuh is used. Accessing Wazuh, navigating through Wazuh, learning about Wazuh rules and alerts, digesting logs to view specific events on devices including Linux and Windows. How can you extend the Wazuh? It is also offering the application programmable interface, which means it can be controlled on programs. Firstly, let's understand the EDR solution are exactly. EDR is nothing but endpoint detection and response. It is actually being installed on each and every endpoints. So the Wazuh agent is doing the EDR job in this case. Actually, there are bunch of EDRs. That is what they gave here, and you can see some of the responsibilities of EDR: auditing a device for common vulnerabilities, proactively monitoring a device for suspicious activity such as unauthorized login, brute force attacks on or privilege escalation. Actually, in a simple terms, EDR it's an agent, it's a tool that is locally installed on every device. It actually monitors the device end to end. It completely monitors the device, each and every activity that is happening on the computer, and it collects the log and it shares that log to the SIEM solution. So that is the role of EDR. So moving down, I can see the architecture. They gave the Wazuh architecture in a simple diagram. So this is how the architecture will look like. You can see the Wazuh central component. Actually, it comprises the Wazuh indexes, Wazuh server, and also the Wazuh dashboard. And you can see the agents deployed on individual devices. Once the agent is deployed and synced with Wazuh Central Manager, it is periodically capturing the logs from the endpoint and it is sharing to the Wazuh. Then later, Wazuh processes these logs based on the rules that are defined on Wazuh, and it is displaying it as an alert. I mentioned here the rules. Based on the rules only it assesses. So that is why we are saying this specific tool, the feature that is offered by the specific tool is nearly equal to the top standard paid SIEM solutions. And even the rules are customizable. You can able to customize these Wazuh rules as per your wish, as per your requirement. If you want to detect a specific event on any server or endpoint, then you can write your own rule to detect such incidents or such events. So moving down further, I can see the year they are asking. The year the Wazuh first introduced was 2015. So that is the answer. And what is the term that Wazuh calls a device that is being monitored for suspicious activity or potential security alerts? What is the term that Wazuh calls a device? Actually, the Wazuh calling every device as agent. So that is what given here. So Wazuh is considering each and every device as an agent. So that's what they asked. Lastly, what is the term of a device that is responsible for managing these devices? I guess it is manager. So let me give it as an answer. That is correct. So moving to the next one, here they give just the process to deploy this Wazuh. We have already seen this page. The page is already here. Now all we need to do is make a note of this username and password and log in this Wazuh. This is enough to complete this specific section. And the username is Wazuh. It will take some time to load. Meanwhile, let's finish this off because we have already deployed this management server. Let's move on to the Wazuh agents, the next one. It's still loading. Let's go through this theory first. Wazuh agents, devices that record events and processes of a system are called agent, as I said before. Agents monitor the processes and events that takes place on a specific device, such as authentication and user management. Agent will offload these logs to a designated collector for processing, such as Wazuh. And let me see whether it is loaded or not. It is still loading. Okay, in order for Wazuh to be populated, agent need to be installed onto devices to log such events. So that is an important thing to keep in mind, because the agent need to be installed on each and every device. Then only we can monitor, we can collect the logs from that specific endpoint. And Wazuh can guide you through the agent deployment process, provide you fill some prerequisites such as operating system, address of the Wazuh server, that the agent should log. I mean, agent should send logs to, what group the agent will be under. You can sort agents in the group within the Wazuh if you wish. So let me explain what they are trying to say here. So now it is loaded. You can see the Wazuh homepage, the interface. Once you logged in, this is how it would look like. And at the top, you can see the total number of agents. There are two agents connected with this Wazuh manager and zero active agents, which mean both these agents are disconnected. TryHackMe also mentioned that the both the agents disconnected. That is an expected behavior. Agents are already being disconnected. And so far, the Wazuh captured the data from these two disconnected agents. We are going to assess that data only. But before that, let me click this drop down list and I can see the list of options here. The first one is modules and the second one is management. Third one is agents. So the agents, that is the topic that we are currently looking here. So let me showcase the details that we need to fill in order to deploy a new agent. So here you can see the list of agents that was previously connected, and I can see an option to deploy a new agent. Here I need to choose the operating system. For example, let's say Windows. If I choose Windows, it will be asking for the Wazuh server address next. In this case, this is the Wazuh server address 10.10.14.218. But in your case, it will be changing. And you can also assign this specific agent within a group. For example, let's say you are having bunch of Linux machine, bunch of Windows machine. then we can add this Windows and Linux machines in a separate group to classify it in a separate group. So you can perform certain activity on the hosts on a specific group. So it is just a grouping, and you can create your own group here. So once you choose the group, here you will be getting the command that you need to install on the specific endpoint. So this is the command that would be installing the Wazuh agent on the specific endpoint. So once you defined OS and all these details, you get the command, and you'll be executing this command on this specific machine that you have mentioned. So once you have done all set, the Wazuh agent will be started reporting to Wazuh manager. So that is what they gave here, the steps. And also they gave the address of the Wazuh, what are the details the Wazuh was expecting from us to add a new agent. So that is what they gave here. And scrolling down further, I can see the same stuff, and here they gave another procedure how to deploy the Ubuntu machine. Here you need to choose the architecture additionally when you are choosing the Ubuntu machine, whether it is i386 64-bit architecture, 32-bit architecture, or any other architecture. You need to choose that, and at the end you will be getting the command according to the options that you chose. So that this is how you need to configure the agent. So this is very simple process. And yeah, this is just an information. We logged in, we also navigated to this agents page, and also the how many agents does this Wazuh management server manage. We have witnessed two agents. Both of these agents, both of those agents were disconnected, and that is the answer for the next question. What are the status of the agents managed by the Wazuh management server? Both the agents were disconnected from Wazuh management server. Yeah, we have finished this Wazuh agents topic, and the next one is Wazuh vulnerability assessment and security events. Wazuh vulnerability assessment module is a powerful tool that can be used to periodically scan an agent's operating system for installed application and their version number. So once you install the Wazuh agent, it will be recording all those logs and the events that are happening to that system in that system, right? So it will also record the list of installed applications, its version, in order to assess the vulnerability. And also, once this information has been gathered, it is sending the information back to the Wazuh server and compared against the database of CVEs to discover the potential vulnerability. So once it collects the data, it is forwarding to the Wazuh server. The Wazuh server only will be correlating and assessing all those data, and it is actually comparing it with the CVE database. Finally, it detects whether the specific device is vulnerable to this specific vulnerability or not. And scrolling down further, here they gave an explanation, and here they gave a CVE ID. Actually, this is the vulnerability that affects the Vim utility, Vim tool, and they gave the information about this vulnerability. Must be a Linux instance, so actually it is displaying whether the specific Vim tool is vulnerable or not. The vulnerability scanner module will perform a full scan when Wazuh agent is first installed on a device. So initially it performs the complete scan on a device when immediately after it got installed, and must be configured to run at the set in a certain interval. So what they are trying to say, the vulnerability scanner module would be running at certain interval. So that is what they gave here. In this specific code block, they defined the interval here. So here they defined it as 5 minutes, but you can customize this configuration as per your wish. And also, Wazuh is capable of testing agents configuration against certain rule sets to check for the compliance. So whenever you are configuring specific device, it can be Linux, Windows, Mac or whatever, you can specify certain rules, and you can test whether that specific device is complied with all those rules or not. It's like a hardening. Even that is possible by using this Wazuh. And Take for example the Linux host. This Linux host is running the Wazuh agent. There have been total of 769 events. So this is what they are actually mentioning. These frequent actions, such as removing files, are often detected as a security event. So even when the legit user try to remove any file, it is detecting as a security event. These events related severities are determined using the Wazuh's rule set. So here is an important part. I have told right, this Wazuh server is correlating the collected logs with the list of rules. Actually, the rules are nothing but the certain conditions that the administrator defines. So here, if you want to see the list of rules that are available, the predefined rules, you can simply click this drop down list, choose the management option, go to the administrator. Under the administrator, there is an option called rules. And if you see these rules, there are 3148 default rules already defined. So whenever you are integrating any device with this Wazuh, it will be collecting the logs and it will be correlating, comparing those logs with these 3148 rules. If any rule that is getting triggered, then it will obviously trigger the alert based on the severity you define in the specific rule set. And here you can see the rule ID, the rule description. They are also grouping every rule here with a keyword and the regulatory compliance, level of severity, the file name, and the path. I can also see more number of rules by simply changing certain things just for the sake of the user. And if you want to see any rule, you can simply click this. So this is the rule format, XML. Actually, the rules are defined in XML format. And you can see a sample rule here. Actually, this rule is predefined. Here you can see, you can go through this rule and understand what this specific rule is trying to find. And moving down, you can see here an example they gave. We can analyze these events individually by selecting events drop down. You can sort events based on the various factors such as timestamps, statistics, and description. So what they are saying, they are trying to view the events here. So how to view the event? You have to go to these modules, and here you can see an option called security events under security information management. So you have to click the security events and you can see the graphical details, but here I'm not seeing anything because the time that I need to change. So what I can change here, I'm just going before couple of months, maybe let's say I'm going before 4 months. Now I updated the timestamp. So I am seeing the logs for past 4 months. Now I can see some numbers. There are 670 total events recorded, level 12 or above. Among those 620, none. Authentication failures, none. Authentication success, 45. So 45 users tried to log in the machine successfully, none of the failed attempts. And if I scroll down further beneath this graph, I can see the security alerts. They gave each and every alert. Here they said 670, right? So they gave each and every events here. So if you want to see more details about this event, you can click this small arrow that is given here. If you click this, it will give the details about the rule to which the specific event got matched. So when we will be receiving these events, when this value is done with comparing the rule base with the collected logs, when it found something, it is simply displaying it as an event. So that is how it came. You can also see other interesting stuffs here. NIST rule and rule level, rule mail, agent ID, agent name also given here. And you can see the details about the rule which is getting matched. And this one looks interesting. A privilege escalation attempt. You can see the MITRE tactic ID here. And expanding this specific event, I can see it is successful sudo to root executed. So this is why it is classified it as a privilege escalation attempt. And also the MITRE ID is given. Sudo MITRE technique is, the rule MITRE technique is sudo. You can also see the path from where this log has been retrieved. So this is the log path in that specific agent from where this Wazuh server retrieved the log and showcasing in this format after analyzing, after parsing those logs. Yeah, so this is all about this event dashboard. And moving to the next one, I'm just choosing these events here. Anything interest? Any interesting stuffs? I'm just trying to find. Still loading. Yeah, here you can see the same stuff, but in different view, different visual. Let's try to answer these questions. Yeah, we have logged into the Wazuh management server and navigating to the agents tab by pressing Wazuh's agents. We have already done this. Select the agent named agent 001. Okay. How many security event alert have been generated by the agent 001? So currently, which agent we have chose? I mean, we chose totally 670 events, and all those events recorded by the THM Wazuh. Sorry, this is the THM Wazuh is the name of the Wazuh manager, but the agent we want to know. Pardon me, the agent name itself Wazuh here, but let me choose this agent 001. Here it is, and if I go to this security events, there I chose last 4 months here. Now I am trying to see the number of security events 196. I think that should be the answer. We chose the specific agent not one, and 196 events were recorded. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Moving to the next one, Wazuh policy auditing. Wazuh is capable of auditing and monitoring an agent's configuration whilst proactively recording event logs. So this is another excellent feature. When the Wazuh agent is installed, an audit is performed where a metric is given using multiple frameworks and legislation such as NIST, MITRE, GDPR. So what they are saying, integrating with MITRE, NIST, SEA integration is possible. So because of that, we can able to set the metric when we are performing any audit. So that is what they are trying to say here. So if I scroll down further, I can see the view of the agent logs. And scrolling down further, these frameworks are outlined in the, yeah, they gave another reference here, penetration testing fundamentals room. Actually, this is the concept for another video. But moving to the next one, Wazuh presents a broad illustration of logs. We can use the visualizations to break down this data and explore it further. Let's do this with the same agent. For example, see the benchmark for this domain controller running Windows Server. So what is benchmark? Let's try to understand what is benchmark here. And moving to the specific agent security event, when I open this agent, I can see the benchmark given here. So here you can see that this document provides the prescriptive guidance for establishing a secure configuration posture for Linux, Debian Linux 10. So here they gave the score 38%. So this is what they are referring as benchmark. If I click this, where it is redirecting, actually it is redirecting to this benchmark. It is also defining some standards as I said before. So when you are doing this audit, you can use this tool, whether to find, I mean, to find whether this tool is passing this benchmark or not. In this case, fail is mostly most of the most of the parts failed. So 113 113 items failed, only 72 items got passed. So here you can see the list of items which got passed, which got failed. So that is what they gave. You can also use this for auditing purpose. So this is another excellent feature of Wazuh. And you can see here, right? Ensure monitoring the HF plus file system is disabled. So actually, they failed to do these things, the specific metrics, but that Wazuh agent detected it, and they through the logs it got to know these are the benchmarks not fulfilled, and they are displaying it as failed. And you can click the pass and see what are all the items that are passed. Ensure sudo is installed. Sudo is already installed, so that is why it is passed. So they gave all these entries, all these benchmarks, all these standards here that needs to be fulfilled by each and every device. And just trying to answer the questions they have asked. So here you can see how to go. I mean, here you can see how we can go to that page. You need to go to the modules, auditing and policy monitoring, and policy monitoring. So let me try to open in that way. I'm going to modules, policy monitoring. Not exactly. Here in modules, auditing and policy monitoring, you have to go to system auditing. Let me go to system auditing whether I can see any juicy info. Nothing here. I'm again going to this system configuration assessment. So this is where you need to go. Yeah, I was wrong before. So even this one is not convincing, the policy monitoring. I can see only the empty page there when I click the policy monitoring. However, if you load more data and see the policy monitoring, here you might be getting some interesting stuff. But as of now, the security configuration assessment is only showing all these audit compliance details. And moving down further is just an information, closing this. And the next item is monitoring logons with Wazuh. So let's go to that. And Wazuh's security event monitoring is capable of actively record both successful and unsuccessful authentication attempts. I have already shown this, I guess. So let me show it once again. Going to the security events, I guess. And here I'll be able to see the authentication failures and the authentication success attempts. I think here it will show the authentication success attempts as well, but not on this agent. Let me change the agent first. Now we are looking on the Linux agent. I'm moving to the Windows agent. And here, if I try to look the security events, totally 76 events, none of the authentication related events. Bit weird. Okay, so this is the data that we are currently having. And they try to mention, they gave an explanation in this GIF. If you watch this GIF, you can understand the specific security event is for the login brute forcing. So it found a brute force attempt. So that is what it is showing here. And let me show that with an option. Now, so far, this specific Wazuh recorded only these two agents for a short period of time. We don't see much details here, but if you want to explore this Wazuh before deploying the agent, you can also do import some dummy data into this Wazuh. When you are installing this Wazuh, it is coming up with the dummy data. In order to do that, you have to go to the settings here and sample data. You have to load this sample data into this Wazuh. Then we will be able to witness all those uh, all the events that are recorded in that sample data. So here I can see the information. So I can add this data in Wazuh. So what it is doing, it is simply doing the sample data within this Wazuh. So once it is loaded, let's see what are the changes we are observing. Now it is already loaded. If you want to remove the loaded data, you can simply come to this page and you can click remove data. to remove all those loaded data. Now I am moving to modules page once again, going to the security events, and here in this page, I can see there is an alert where it is giving the dashboard contains sample data, and you can see the total number of events 2277. Among these 2277, 284 alerts were very critical, and 19 authentication failure attempts, 53 authentication success attempts. If I click this authentication failure, I can see the list of authentication failure events and its respective technique ID, credential access, initial access. You can see, let me extend one of these techniques, and here I can see the mitre technique brute force. So this is what the specific GIF was showing. So this is how you need to look at the authentication failure attempts. And going down further, I can see the field values and its description. So actually they are explaining the specific fields here given here and its value, what it means. And for reference, this alert is stored in a specific file on Wazuh management server. So once the agent forwarded all those logs to the management server, it will be stored on this specific file. And we can use a command such as grep nano in order to search through this specific file system. Actually, as I said before, the Wazuh management servers only can be deployed on certain Linux distributions version. I mean, certain Linux distribution versions. So it's a Linux operating system. So you need to navigate through this file system. When you spot this file, you can open and read by using any text editor. And looking at the animated GIF below, we can see how Wazuh has created an alert for successful login for Windows Server running Wazuh agent. I think this is for the successful login attempt. Because this attempt was successful, the severity of the alert was considered as less. So let's try to open a legit login attempt. I'm going to expand that specific legit login attempt, and the authentication success. You can see the level 3. The level of criticality is very less compared to the previous one because these are the legit login attempts, valid accounts, authentication success, login successful. You can find these logs in var log secure file. And moving to the next one, I can see the animated GIF below shows the number of Windows agents, Windows agent events and alerts triggered to show how many times the user logged in. In this case, it narrows down total logon events to 285 to 79. So what it is doing in the filter, it is only applying filter for a specific event, the logon event. So when they choose this logon event, the incident count is getting reduced. So that is what they are trying to say. So let's try to do the same here. What they are filtering the logon GUID exist. Okay, let's try to do the same. Add filter. One second, let me remove this filter, and now I can see the total number of alerts, and here I am trying to add the filter logon. So I'm not applying the same filter, but any filter that I'm applying and clicking, no results. So you can simply apply the filter by using this specific options. That's what they're trying to explain here. And moving down further, I can see another information here. So ensure that you are logged into Wazuh management server. Navigate to the management tab by passing to the Wazuh management open rules modules. So I have already showcased this. You can view the rule module by using the the management option and under the administrator rules. So this is how you need to enter into the rule base in Wazuh. Yeah, this one is also completed. Now moving to the next one, collecting Windows logs with Wazuh. So this one is the next. So how can we collect the logs from the Windows operating system by using Wazuh? So let's see that. All sort of actions and events are captured and recorded on Windows operating system. This includes authentication attempts, network connections. Actually, they gave about the types of data which are getting captured in Windows operating system. And this information is stored in Windows event log. If you if you go through the Windows event log manager, you will be able to see everything that is happening on the specific system. That is what they are trying to say. And the information is stored on the Windows event log using the tool called Sysmon. The Sysmon is the tool that is doing all these things. So what we can do, we can use this Wazuh and we can integrate this Wazuh with this tool Sysmon. Through that, we'll be able to receive the logs from the Windows operating system. And that's what they gave here, integrating Sysmon with Wazuh Manager. Now we will need to configure both Wazuh agent and the Sysmon application. Sysmon uses rules that are made in XML formatting to be triggered. For example, the XML snippet they gave below a Sysmon configuration file for monitoring the PowerShell process. So here they gave the condition. Whenever the PowerShell.exe the file, the executable is getting triggered, the process is created, it has to trigger the alert to Wazuh Manager. And for that, they are using the Sysmon tool. And the Sysmon configuration file, they are modifying certain things. And to instruct the Sysmon to do this, they are executing this command. It is Sysmon 64 in 64-bit architecture. If it is 32-bit, then it will be simply sysmon.exe. And accepting the end user license agreement -I detecting PowerShell. So once they formed this specific XML document, they are running the document with this Sysmon in order to execute this Sysmon application and provide the forementioned configuration. Yeah, so that is what they are trying to do here. So in this image, so they are simply executing that command. So once it is done, it is giving some messages which clearly confirms that the Sysmon 64 has started. Now we can verify that in the event viewer itself. In the event viewer, if you navigate to the applications and service log folder under the Microsoft, you can see under the option Sysmon operational, you can see the information. The Sysmon config state changed. And this is how you need to verify whether the Sysmon is configured or not. Let's launch the PowerShell prompt on Windows Server to return the event viewer. So what they are doing, they are trying to trigger that specific event that they defined on the rule, XML rule. And what they are doing, they are trying to open the PowerShell. And once they open the PowerShell, what is happening? The process created here. Actually, it is getting recorded in this event log. Here you can see the detailed event. And now what we need to do, we have made sure the Sysmon is already configured. It is actually recording the specific event as per the rules we have configured. Now the next thing is we need to configure the Wazuh agent on this Windows server. Wazuh agent is already installed on the Windows server, right? We need to do certain modifications on the Wazuh agent in order to send these specific recorded events to Wazuh management server. And for that, they are modifying this specific file. In Windows operating system, this is the file that defines the Wazuh agent configuration. And if you scroll down further, you can see the Wazuh server address and the encryption that is being used. Actually, the communication between the Wazuh agent and the Wazuh server, it is encrypted. So that is why they gave some cryptographic protocol. And going down further, they are simply adding couple of lines here. In the Microsoft Windows Sysmon operational, they are mentioning the log format as event channel. So these are the code snippet they included in the specific configuration file. They simply appended this specific code snippet. So once it is done, once you saved this, you need to restart the Wazuh agent or you need to restart the specific machine itself. So once it is done, we need to tell the Wazuh management server to add Sysmon as a rule to visualize these events. So what we did, So far, we configured the Sysmon on the specific endpoint. Once we made sure the Sysmon is configured properly, it is triggering some alert on event viewer. We configured the Wazuh agent configuration file that is present on the endpoint. So once we configured that, we need to we need to write a rule on the Wazuh server, right? So for that, what they are doing, they are simply opening the specific file on Wazuh server. So here they are configuring on Wazuh server, and this is the rule snippet they are adding within this specific file. So once everything is done, you need to restart the Wazuh management server for the changes to apply. Once it is done, all set. Whenever that specific endpoint is triggering the PowerShell.exe, you will be getting alerts on Wazuh management server. All right. Now, what is the name of the tool that we can use to monitor the system events? The tool we discussed was Sysmon. So through this, what we got to know, we integrated the tool like Sysmon, the Windows internal tools with Wazuh agent and Wazuh manager. So we can understand that the Windows system tools can be integrated with Wazuh. So that is the one line. And what standard application on Windows do these system events get recorded to? And the answer is event viewer. So that is what they are asking. Event viewer. That must be the answer. Yeah, that is. Moving to the next one, collecting Linux logs with Wazuh. How we can collect the Linux logs? For Windows, we used the sysinternal tools, but for Linux, it is different. Capturing the logs from Linux agent is a simple process compared to the Windows one, and we will be using Wazuh's log collector service to create an entry on the agent to instruct what logs should be sent to Wazuh's management server. So what they are trying to say in this task, we will be monitoring the logs of the Apache 2 web server that is deployed on a Linux instance. To begin, let's configure the log collectors service on a Linux server running Wazuh agent. So Wazuh comes with many rules that enable the Wazuh to analyze the log files can be found in. So here you can see the path where the Wazuh rules are getting stored. In the GUI, I explained you have to navigate through management and rules, but in CLI, this is the path. This is the path in which the rules are stored. As I said before, the Wazuh management server installed on Linux instance, so we need to move through this specific path. And some common applications include, they gave the list of applications here, and that which can be monitored by using Wazuh. And the rule set can analyze the Apache 2 logs for warning an error message like so. We need to insert this into Wazuh's agent that is sending logs to the Wazuh management server file located in this one. So what they are trying to say, we need to insert this into Wazuh's agent that is sending logs to the Wazuh management server configuration. So this specific file is present in the Wazuh agent, the specific endpoint. So we need to modify, you need to add the specific code within this file in order to make the specific Wazuh agent to forward the logs to Wazuh management servers. And once everything is done, you need to restart the Linux agent. So what is the full path to the rules located in the Wazuh's management server? We have seen this specific path where OSSEC rule set slash rules. So this is the path where the Wazuh rules are getting stored. Yeah, that's the answer. Moving to the next one, auditing commands in on Linux with Wazuh. So let's see what it is. So here they are using another utility called audit or audit daemon. Wazuh utilizes the audit package that can be installed with Wazuh agents. So Wazuh agents can be installed with this audit package running on Ubuntu, Debian, CentOS operating systems. So this is only for Linux. And in this task, we will be using audit on Ubuntu system. Audit, what the audit is doing? Actually, Audit D monitors the system for certain actions, events, and will write this to a log file. So actually, like we used the Sysmon utility to collect the Windows logs, here they are using the utility called Audit D in order to record the certain events on Linux operating system. We can then use the log collector module on Wazuh agent to read this log file and send it to the Wazuh management server for further processing. And first, we will need to install the audit package and an audit plugin. And the installation is given here, how you need to install this audit first of all on Linux machine. So that the process is given here. We will need to configure the audit to create rule for commands and events that we wish to monitor. The another excellent stuff is you'll be able to customize or configure this audit utility in order to monitor for the specific command and the specific event. So this is really customizable. That is why I'm comparing this specific tool with some top standard SIEM tools. And in this task, we will be telling the audit D to monitor any commands that are executed as root. So that is the use case. That is the task here. So what they are doing. You can extend this to monitor the commands such as TCP dump, netcat, or cat command, catting a specific file, opening and reading the content of the file. So they gave few examples, but it is up to you. You can use whatever commands that you wish to monitor. And audit rules are located in the following directory. So in the Linux instance, not the Linux instance, on the in this specific Wazuh agent, you need to navigate to the specific path where you can define the audit.rules. And here in this path, you can see the file audit.rule files content. So this is how the content will look like. So here you can see the command that, the input they gave within this audit.rules file in order to detect these catting, TCP dump, netcat events. But in this case, they were trying to record every command that is getting executed as root. So this must be the line we need to append in this specific audit.rules file. So moving down, I can see we will now need to inform audits to this new rule. Sorry. First of all, we will now need to inform audits of this new rule. So let's run this command. So in order to inform the audit, you need to run this specific command. You already made the rule, but you need to inform this rule to audit the utility, right? So for that, you need to execute this. Now read the new audit.rules file we appended to the previous task. And yeah, this is just an operation, the committing operation. The changes you did, you are committing it with this command. Now let's configure the system that is running Wazuh agent that we wish to monitor that events on. We will be monitoring Linux host in this case. So like our previous task, we will need to configure the Wazuh agent to detect new log file that is generated by audit D. Since we are using the audit utility, in order to monitor certain events, you have to detect the new log files where this audit utility is forwarding all those logs. You need to detect those log file. But for that, here is the code block. So this is the code block that you need to add. And the location is given here where log audit.log. So this is the location. This is where the specific audit D logs are sent to. So this is the location. This is the code block you need to add. So scrolling down further, I can see the questions they asked. So let's try to answer. What application do we use on Linux to monitor events such as command execution? The tool is audit daemon. That must be the answer. What is the full path and the file name for where the aforementioned application stores rules? So they are asking the full path where the rules are getting stored. I think this must be the answer. This is where those audit rules are getting stored. Let's try to answer this. It must be the right. Yeah, that is the correct answer. Moving to the next one, Wazuh API, Application Programmable Interface. As said before, it is also offering an option to communicate this Wazuh by using the programs. So in order to do that, what you need to do, you need to go to Wazuh Tools API console. When you click this API console, you can see the specific API console. And when you click this execute the play button, you can see the specific code for that command, I guess. I haven't explored it much, but this is the overview of this Wazuh API. So the Wazuh Management Server features rich and extensible API to allow the Wazuh Management Server to be interacted with using the command line. Because the Wazuh Management Server requires authentication, we must first authenticate our client. Yeah, so the authentication is required, and they are using curl utility in order to authenticate. And you can see the command given here. Let's confirm that we have authenticated OK and have been given token by Wazuh Management Server. So this is the process. You can also see the Wazuh API verify authentication. So we can use the standard HTTP request method. So these are the standard HTTP request methods you can use in this specific API request. And if I scroll down further, I can see certain details about the API interaction. And scrolling down further, they give a way how to install, how to navigate to this API console. And they asked a few questions. Let's try to answer that. What is the name of the standard Linux tool that we can use to make request to Wazuh Management Server? The tool utility, the utility we were discussing was curl. They were using curl utility here in order to negotiate with the Wazuh API. So here is the tool name. That is the standard utility to negotiate with API to send any web request. What HTTP method would be used to retrieve the information from Wazuh Management Server API? So they gave four methods actually. Let me, yeah, here you can see the methods: get, post, put, delete. So these are these methods supported in Wazuh API. So what method among these four to retrieve the data, to retrieve the information? And the method is get, simple. And the next one, the HTTP method would be used to perform the action on Wazuh Management Server API. So any change you need to make on, I mean, you need to make on the Wazuh Management Server, it is put. You are making some change on the server. So that must be the answer, and that is. And the Wazuh API console already navigated to that. Use the API console to find the Wazuh server version. Now we need to find the Wazuh server version. So how we can find that? So here I can see the list of commands given, and the interesting info here, the manager info. So let's try to click this play button, and here it is giving the information about the manager. So here I can see the list in the JSON format, and the version is given here, version 4.2.5. That must be the answer. Yes, that is. Finally, generating reports with Wazuh. Let's try to read through. If you want to generate any reports, then it is really easy. Even reporting, I mean, preparing the reports using Wazuh is very easy, and also it is giving some um, incredible reports. You can also customize the report as per your wish. So first of all, we need to view the specific security events. Then once you open the security events, at the top you can see an option to generate the report. So once you generated the report, you need to move to this management and the reporting option, where you will be able to download the reports that you requested. So let me try to do that. I'm just opening the security events here, and here I am about to generate the report for this 2277 events. It might take some time. Yeah, it is now generating the report. generating the PDF document. Now it is generated. In order to retrieve the report, I am going to management, reporting, and here I can see the report. And you can download this report. You can see that interesting the report. It gives the agent name, IP address, version, the manager details also, the operating system, the date when the agent got registered, last keep alive, when that agent last time reported. And if I scroll down further, I can see the graphical image, top 5 alerts given here, top 5 rule groups given here. Scrolling down further, I can see a lot of events, some vulnerabilities, some Docker alerts, some privilege escalation failures. I can see the list of events that are happened and also the group summary. Here you can see the rule groups. Like we are classifying the agents in a group, they classified the rules also in a group. That is what they are showing here. If I go to rule, I have already showcased this. I'm showing it once again. They refined, they defined each and every rule in a specific group based on its nature. And the report also classifying the group to which the specific rule is belongs to. I mean, how many events got matched with the specific rule group virus total. That is what they gave. And let me search the group virus total here. Virus total. I can see six rules. Actually, the specific report says these 5 rules got matched in 472 events. So that is the report is showing. Yeah, let's try to answer this. We explored the reporting feature of Wazuh. Analyze the report. What is the name of the agent that generated most alerts? So let's try to understand the agent agent that generated the alerts for more time. Let me choose this modules security event. I shouldn't choose any. Need to reset this. Yeah. Now I unselected that specific event. Now when I try to generate the report, it's still generating the PDF document. Now I generated the second report. The second report shows the list of events triggered by each agents. And THM Wazuh is the server and agent 001 is Linux. THM DC -1 is Windows agent. And I can see the blue color is comparatively higher than the pink. So the agent 001 is the culprit. So that agent generated more events -001. So that must be the answer. Yeah, that's the answer. Now the final part is loading sample data. I have already explained this how to load the sample data in the absence of agents. So you can simply navigate through this Wazuh settings sample data to load it, and after you load this, you'll be able to see the bunch of events. So you can use these events to navigate and understand the Wazuh tool. So it will be easy for you to practice this. Yeah, with this we have completed this excellent Wazuh room. And yes, this is what I exactly wanted to share. Hope you have learned about an incredible tool that we forgot to notice, that we forget to notice. And if you really enjoyed this, hit the like button. Consider subscribing my channel. If you have any other opinion, put it in the comment section. I'll be reading those comments and I'll be responding to your valid questions. You can also share this video among your friends. I'll catch you next time with another exciting and excellent video. Until then, I am signing off. Cheers and I love you all. Thank you.